So I am in a resort in Rishikesh right now, a trip that I planned with my friends. It was very abrupt. Um, the weather is crazy good, and that made me record this video. I just wanted to sit here and talk about this because it's a story that came in my mind. Last Diwali, I remember that my dad was on a phone with one of my family members, and he did not know that I was in the other room. And I heard him say something that made me cry. Now, I will tell you what he said, and you will understand why it mattered. But before I get into this, anyone who grew up in a middle class family, you already know what the plan is. What I mean by that is, the plan that we all have is study hard, get a degree, apply for placements, land a job, a job or a company that your parents can name at the dinner table, and settle down. And nobody tells you this plan. Nobody hands you the document. It's just there. You follow it. Your parents followed it. Your cousins follow it. The neighbor who got into Infosys, they certainly followed it. So it's something that's a cultural contract and nobody hands it over, but you just follow it because that's the norm and you can never get out of it. And it's not a suggestion, like I mentioned, it's a cultural contract. And I broke it. At 18, I started my own business. And by the time I was in college, I quietly stopped applying for placements. I mean, nothing as such as a big announcement, no fights at the dinner table. I just stopped. I just did not submit any forms and I started building my own thing. So the first 2 years I was freelancing, but then I started transitioning and building something which really meant to me. And here's what nobody tells you about building something that your family does not understand. I mean, the reaction isn't one thing, it moves through three phases, and each one will test you differently. The phase one is confusion, phase two is concern, and phase three is quiet acceptance. And most people quit in the phase two, which is the concern phase. And I almost did that. But let me walk you through all of these three phases. So, phase one, confusion. Now, when my parents found out that I am not going the conventional route and I am trying to do something of my own, they did not yell. And I'm very lucky, fortunate that my parents did never force me, but still, my father wanted me to go into UPSC. I have been in public speaking for 10 years. I have, been on national and international stages, and I have the qualities that it takes in terms of both academically and with curricular activities that I could crack UPSC. So my father really wanted it. But yeah, coming back to it, they did not yell. They, that would have been easier if they yell. But my mom just looked at me and she asked, "To fir karega kya?" And now I do not have a good answer because how do you explain that I'm building a full PFI growth revenue infrastructure for B2B businesses, or the complete operating software for service businesses that has never been done? You cannot really explain to someone whose entire reference point for work is office jata hai and salary aati hai. So you can't really do that, right? So, and I tried once. I tried to explain it to my dad once. I sat him down. I gave him full explanation, and 5 minutes in, he just nodded politely and said, "Acha, to sara kaam computer pe hota hai." And it was funny at that time because you don't really understand what to say next, and you're just taken aback. So that became the official family explanation that computer mein kuch karta hai. 3 years of building two businesses, and my job title at family gatherings became computer mein kuch karta hai. And honestly, phase one is survivable. Confusion you can live with. Nothing's stopping you. They they just don't get it, right? But the real test comes in phase two, which is the concern phase. Now, phase two is when they stop being confused and start being scared. Now, it is not about your career, it is about you. They get scared about you. So My mom started calling me every day at 8 p.m. And it was nothing about work. It was just to ask कि खाना खाया, सब कुछ ठीक है, कोई अच्छी कंपनी से कोई ऑफर लेटर है कि नहीं, and things like this, which shows that they are now concerned about you and your health and your well-being. And the last line, that's not a question, that's a prayer disguised in terms of question, that they want you to get stable, they want you to have that sense of security, that environment where you're not constantly stressed, because entrepreneurship is very stressful when it comes to you building and trying to scale something, right? Because in her world, no job means no safety net. And she loves me. So, she loves me so much that she will suffer me watching that I am suffering. And then there's that kid, that Sharma ji ka uncle or neighbor's kid, at every family gatherings. It has to be there. It is inevitable. And then starts the comparison, whether that guy is in Amazon or he's in Google. And this is what happens, when this kicks in, and every guy would relate. Your dad would give you that look, and your mom notices that look. And at that point of time, you really can't explain that to them as to what is going on or what you are building. And that comparison kills more dreams than failure ever will. This comparison thing, it just demotivates people, and it compels them to leave midway, because it is not about that uncle or that kid being right. It's about your parents fearing it. And this is why most people drop off in this phase, which is the concern phase. And I'll be honest, there were nights that I thought or I felt like quitting. Those nights were heavy, not because the business wasn't working, but because the worry on my mom's face was heavier than any client's problem that I would ever solve. And then I realized something, that they are not evaluating me, they are grieving the version of my life they imagine. So your dad imagines certain version of your life, and that's why he tries to give you every single thing to make it better, and so does your mom. This safe version, the version where they never have to worry, it just does not sit right with you if you're trying to build, because you can never be comfortable when you're building something. And the same thing happened with me. Once I understood that, everything changed. Not because they stopped asking, because I stopped treating the question like attacks. Now, once I understood that, that changed everything. Not because they stopped asking, but because I realized something, and I stopped treating their questions as attacks. So this shift is very important for you to combat, because this is something that we all face. Phase three, quiet acceptance. Now, phase three does not arrive with a speech. There's no Bollywood or scene or moment where your dad says, "I believe you." Sorry, that does not happen. It sounds like this. So you call home and you're talking about something random, and then your mom just asks mid sentence out of the blue that "तेरा काम तो अच्छा चल रहा है ना?" Now this isn't a question. This is an acknowledgement. It's just a fact that they are they're trying to prove. And the first time she said it, I almost missed it, because I was so used to defending myself, that I almost did not understand when when the defense was no longer needed. And then my dad who has asked me to crack UPSC roughly like 47 million times, who still does not know what revenue infrastructure I'm building, how much revenue the business is generating, what projects I'm working, building India's one of its kind operating software. He does not know. Now, last Diwali, he was in his room talking to his brother, and I heard him say, because I was in the next room, and he said, "Pursottam ka apna kaam hai, and wo chal raha hai." 8 words, no explanation, no details. He couldn't explain it if he tried, but "Chal Raha hai," coming from my dad to his brother when he, don't know that I'm listening, that, is what moved listening. Now, here's the part that makes it real. The same month my dad said to his brother that Chal Raha hai, my mom asked me, job kab karega? So both sentences, same house, same month. Now, my dad had quietly moved to phase 3, my mom still in phase 2, and I was in the middle of building a business. Currently on a trek with my friends at 23, running 2 companies that is doing me over $50,000 a month, and building India's first operating software for service business. So that's the real picture. It's not one clean narrative, it's two truths under the same roof. And your job is to keep building until both of them arrive at Chal Raha hai at their own pace. So you don't really force it by explanation or anger or frustration. You have to give it time, and both have to come to a common ground. And then you understand that this is where your family is completely supporting you. They have been supporting you throughout, but now is that they are completely supporting you. You don't convince them with words, you convince them with years, with time, and with the results that you get. Now, every founder I know has something or some line from their parents that lives in their head rent free. Mine is computer mein kuch karta hai, because that was the explanation that was given. But if you have something like this and if you relate with it, you drop in your comments. I won't read every single thing because it's a journey down the memory lane. And if you're in phase 1 or phase 2 right now, and the Sharma ji ka beta comparison are coming, and you feel like giving up, trust me, bro. This is the time when you hold on, and this is the time when you believe in yourself and your family. It's all about time, and it will come in. You just have to keep building. The phase 3 comes, and that's when you start growing, and you never look back. Subscribe if this hits home, and more of the real stuff coming. Cheers.